Boker Tov Rabotai. It is the 8th day of the Omer, also Isru Hag, and we are beginning the 8th parak in Kilayim. So now the Mishnah Yomi continues with the first Mishnah in the 8th parak, Kilay HaKerem, the Kilayim of the vineyard, which we've just covered the past few prakim. Asur milizra umikayim, you cannot plant them together, and you cannot allow them to grow together. Recall that if you saw Kilayim in the Kerem and you let it go for 1/200th of the growth, for the time it takes for it to grow 1/200th, then it would be Kilayim deraita, asurim behana, and it's asur behana. So we say pen tukdash is what the pasuk says, and Chazal Drashin pen tukad eish, lest you have to burn it in the fire. So if there's a situation of Kilayim kerem deraisa, it's asur behana, meaning you can't benefit from it at all, like chametz b'pesach. You can't feed it to your animals, you can't sell it, you can't eat it, of course. And that's pen tukadesh. That's the bad tukdash. That's hekdesh. That's the bad hekdesh. Asur behana, and that was kilai hekerem. Recall that even in chutz laaretz we don't have the other kilayim, but we still have on a rabbinical level kilai hekerem. The Mishnah continues kilai zerayim, kilayim of seeds such as grains and vegetables together. Asurin milizrolikayim. It's asur to plant them together or to allow them to continue growing together. Mutarin bechila, but you could still eat it. So if somebody had planted kilayim, he has an obligation to uproot it and get rid of it. But what if he uproots that turnip that was growing with his grains? Well, he could still eat it, or someone else could still eat it. So the produce we get at the store, which maybe some of it the farmers grew in close proximity, that would be allowed in chutz laaretz. Kol sheken behana, and if you can eat it, kol sheken it's mutter behana. You could sell it. So if somebody had kilayim, that's usher to have kilayim, he's got to rip it out, but he could then sell that turnip to somebody else. Kilay begodim, the mixture of clothing. This refers to wool and linen together, as we're going to see later on in the Mishnah. Mutarin b'chol davar, it's mutter for everything. Ve'enan asurin, it's only asur ele melubosh, only in wearing it. So you could actually weave a garment of shatnez. You could make a fancy designer suit with wool and linen in it and sell it to a non-Jew, but you can't wear the thing. So the only isser of kilai begodim is wearing it. Now kilai behema, the Mishnah continues, a mixture of animals is mutarin legadol kayim. It's mutter to raise them or to feed them, to help them to continue. But you can't mate them. You can't produce kilai behema, a mixed species. But if you have one, you can keep feeding it and using it and working it as normal. So, for instance, the famous example we're going to see in this parak is the mule. The mule comes from a donkey and a horse. You cannot mate a donkey and a horse, but you could buy a mule and use it to do your agricultural work. The Mishnah continues, kiloi behema asurin zeh bezeh. But these kilayim are asur one to another. We're actually going to see you can't mate a kilayim with another kilayim. Even two mules together, they're actually different kinds of mules. There's mules that have a mother of a horse. There's mules that the mother is a donkey. And those are distinct, and you could not have them mated together. Continuing with the kilai behema in Mishnah Beis, Perik 8, behema im behema v'chayim chaya. So this isser applies whether it's two behemot, which we translate loosely as domesticated animals, or chaya im chaya, or two wild animals, or behema im chaya v'chaya im behema. So this is interesting because the pasuk only says shor v'chamor. So it says you can't be tachrish with shor v'chamor yachdav, and a shor and a chamor is an ox and a donkey. Those are both domesticated animals. You might have thought it's only domesticated animals. The Mishnah is teaching us it even applies to wild animals, or even one wild and one domestic, or one domestic and one wild. The Mishnah continues, Tameya im tameya, v'tahora im tahora, whether they're kosher or not kosher. Because after all, the pasuk said shor v'chamor, and a shor is kosher to eat, and a chamor is not. Tameya im tahorim, im tahora, or tahora im tameya. So whatever combination of animals it is, two different species of animals, Asurin lacharosh v'limshach lachanhig. It's also to plow with them together. If you have two different animals pulling one plow, v'limshayich, to pull a wagon or a load or something like this, ulhanhig, or even to lead them together. Even if you've got your rope and you're tying two different animals together and you're pulling them this way to transport them, it's also to mix two different animals together, no matter what kind of animals they are. The shor v'chamor is just an example. It doesn't mean davka, both domesticated and one kosher, one not kosher. Shkoyach Rabosei.